Hello there friends, ZK like here. I'm bringing you a new video on Vigor, and this main video is just for the new players. It's just tips on the game for the new players that will be joining us from Nintendo Switch and PS4 in the coming weeks or so. Because the Nintendo Switch is getting a free release on the 23rd, so just thought I'll bring a new video just for the new players, giving them some tips and tricks. So yeah, let's get started. The main one will be how to get blueprints. Of course, a lot of players will want to know how to get that, and it's fairly simple. Like, as a new season comes out, the blueprints will be available for the new stuff in the season pass if you get the premium version. As you can see, for the new weapon SWSH629, it's a blueprint right here on level 27. And that was also for the other new items that are added for the season. But of course, you would want to obtain the items as of now, and in order to do that, first of all, you have to have your crafting table at the level required. So when you go over the crafting table, you can press the X, or on other consoles with a different button, and it will show up this page. And then, as you can see, all these weapons, it shows you which level requires the crafting table to be at to be able to craft a corresponding weapon, as you can see. And that green icon above each weapon or equipment item means you have the plan and are able to craft it. And as you can see, like, I have it on every single item in the game except I believe the new Uzi. But yeah, so you get the idea. And to obtain the said plan after, you will have to get crates, unfortunately. And so this might be a challenge for you if you're a new player, but you will get there. Believe me, it's hard at first, but you will eventually get all the plans. But that brings me up to my next point, is really what to upgrade in your shelter. Once you're a new player, what should you upgrade in your shelter? Well, I have to prioritize main three things, and then it's kind of up to you. Now, the main three are the crafting table, obviously, the water distillation, and the antenna. Now, the water distillation is only because it reduces your crafting time for your consumables, and they have updated it recently to make it 100% when you reach the final level, which means basically zero crafting time on your consumables. And the antenna is for obvious reason, as it gives you the crown, which is the in-game currency, to purchase, like to boost up the loot in-game, and get like mainly to boost up the loot in-game, or get some in-game cosmetics if you feel like. And the crafting table goes really without saying. From my previous point, you really want to get the weapon. It's like you really want to upgrade your crafting table to be able to craft the corresponding weapon. You don't want to have a plan but not be able to craft the weapon just because your level of the crafting table is low enough. So yeah, but after you do focus on these three, at least couple levels, it's really up to you, as all these others provide basic bonuses. But I would say mainly focus on the rat traps and the boxes of plants, as the woodlog and the boxes of herbs don't exactly give you much materials, as much as you would like, let's say. And the food from the rat traps and the boxes of plants is very useful, since every 10,000 you collect, you can donate every week, and every Sunday midnight, I believe, you get yourself 5 crates, one of each type, which will be very useful for the new players. The next point, which is on what to choose for your loadout. Now, I know new players won't have a lot to choose from, not from this top tier equipment at least. They will have to start off with the basic Thompson and basic stuff, but hopefully you go into the lobbies with people who are using the same stuff. So my recommendation is run with the Thompson or the shotgun, of course, at first, because you won't have much weapons. But once you reach the VZ58P, and once you have like 4 or 5 stocks, you should start using this weapon. It's very good at the start. It's practically a AK it has good damage. It's just kind of inaccurate, so that's the problem with it. But of course, once you start getting more weapons, and to be fair, each weapon is pretty much deadly if you know how to use it. But this is just my recommendation and how I started off the game. So after the VZ58, you can start using basically an M16 or the AKM. Now I found that the AKM is way better for me, but the M16 is practically the same weapon. Of course it shoots 3-round bursts, but on the scale of how much bullets to kill, it's practically the same, and the M16 does have longer range, so you can pull headshots from further than the AK. But the AK does have a semi good range. But these are the lower tier weapons and what you should be using at the start. But the AK and the M16, you can't really go wrong, and they're very cheap to make and quick, only 1 minute. But then of course, as we move up the list, we got the Sumi, which is very good to be using. And of course, when you start going up further on the list, the PPSH of course speaks for itself. Everyone should know what that weapon is. And then you got the Gao. I actually haven't used this weapon, but it's somewhat good. The Combat Magnum is, of course, there'll be people who really like using the one-shot Magnum, and it's very useful and powerful, so I can see people running around with these. And then of course you got the higher tier weapons, which of course are the more expensive and longer ones to make. And of course the main ones you want to be using or keep an eye out for to learn how to use is the VSS. The PSS is very powerful, don't be fooled. It's a pistol, very small one, but it's very good. And of course you got the main two OGs, which are the SG1 and the H-bar. Now of course these two weapons you're going to be want to learn how to use as soon as you of course obtain them, but of course you probably wouldn't want to be running out with them if you only have 1 or 2, but they are very powerful weapons to use. But yeah, just keep in mind if you die with one, it's very sad. You know, it's a sad weapon to lose, but very OG weapons at the moment. And then you have the gold weapons, which of course you got the new Magnum, which is still new to even the Xbox players. And then you got the SVD and the SVU, because the MP5 and the AD are not really worth using at the moment, so I would say, you know, don't. But it's really up to you, but this is just personal preference. But the SVD and SVU are still very powerful, very good sniper rifles. So the SVU of course has an advantage with the silenced suppressed option and the automatic option, but yeah, but these are mainly the guns you want to keep an eye out for if you're a new player. But of course you can experiment with other guns, of course. But yeah, and with consumables, of course you don't want to be taking too much out. As you can see, my loadout simply has 1 antibiotic and 3 disinfectants. Now I usually also run with 1 painkiller, as the painkiller and antibiotic kind of are made for together. I use the painkiller then the antibiotic, but it's also a personal preference. Now I would suggest not to run with lots. So yeah, alright then, so the next thing we're going to focus on is how to shoot and, you know, get your marks. Oh, so I'm going to reset the firing range here. So the main tip is you really want to be shooting in 3rd person mode, as I know a lot of people might be playing this coming from 1st person shooters, and this game does have a 1st person mode, but you kind of want to avoid it unless of course the mark is, your target is at least like 40-50 meters away, because as you can see here, I'll demonstrate, when you shoot in 3rd person you can turn extremely quick. As you can see, I did a full circle, and as I do go into 1st person here and shoot and turn, I'm not even going to do half the circle that I did when I was in 3rd person. So as you can see already, it's much more flexible to shoot, and it's much easier to just hit your target when they're up close. Now of course this is in this case when shooting from far, and of course it's sometimes easier, but I would recommend zooming in to first person when you're shooting from someone from at least like 50, 40, 50 meters away. But other than that, keep it in third person and you should do fine. But another tip with when it comes to shooting, I would say, is make sure you're crouched. Make sure you're crouched. You don't want to be running around in the middle and then start shooting someone and then they kill you and you think, how did you miss? You miss because, as you can see, the whole hit point, the whole crosshair is whole going all over the place. But if you simply just press B, and then you can see already the crosshair is not going as much. But of course you also got to control your shots, like you can't just be spraying. Sorry there, but yeah, so that's that tip. So next thing is how do you get materials? Now I found it personally because of course the wood log and the boxes of herbs don't exactly give you much materials as you would want. I found it personally, you have got to stack up items a lot. Now even if you don't use them, for example, and you have got to then learn to let those items go. Now for example, what I do is, because I somehow collect so much radiation pills, I destroy them, and as you can see, for just destroying 100 I'll get 380,000 basically materials, and that's enough to craft a lot of portable signal detectors. As you can see, for only 3,100 for me. So I'll be able to make well over 100 signal detectors just from those 100 pills, and that's not even the weapons deconstructed. So I would suggest, if you not running with the P90 or these other gold weapons, to destroy them, because they are very valuable. And even for the SVDs, like even without upgraded, I forgot what is the utility room, you do get a lot for destroying these weapons. So that is a very fast way, because other than that there's not really much faster way to obtain materials. And I know this sucks for some people, but the best way to get all of this is just to play and play and play, and you will get better. And that actually brings me on to the next point and the final point about this game, which is noise is everything. Now if you play in this game without headphones, you're basically shooting yourself in the foot here, because this game is all about noise and you need to hear what's going on. The headphones provide you such an advantage. You'll be able to hear people coming from 10-20 meters away, and you know what direction they're coming from. Well, I don't need to explain how headphones work, but that also brings me to a point where you need to learn how to stay quiet. As in, if you think someone's in the house, or you literally seen someone run inside the house, you can't just run up to the house next to it by the door and then think, oh, how did that person know you were there? That's because they heard you. So you should really learn to be sneaky in this game. Take your patience. Patience pays off in this game a lot of the times. If you decide to be quiet and sneak up on the person in the house, then they'll come out thinking no one's next to them, and then you can get the shot and hopefully get them. So yeah, noise is everything in this game, and just make sure you stay quiet, all of you. But yeah, I think that's all for the tips for now, and hopefully some of you learned one or two things from this video, and that maybe you know hopefully, well, you have luck on the wild now from this. And yeah, I think I'll be signing off here. Hope you enjoyed the video, and ZK like is out. Peace.